Hi. So, I am Sweet Gwendolyn, and this is Rita, and this is day one, first full day of quarantine. And I just decided it would be a good idea to do this video log every day because I think this is going to be probably months. People are already currently really underestimating it, with it being weeks. It's clearly going to be months of being locked down. And anyway, so yeah, in the future, I plan to make this probably pretty quick, just a couple of minutes, maybe 5, just kind of like covering the events of the day. And this first one, I feel like I have a lot of catching up because wow. Yeah, a lot's happened in not very much time. And so I'm doing this on many levels just to keep current with my friends and everything, and also just like a project for me to do, even if like no one else winds up watching this at all. I'll have my memories of this time because this is clearly, just a moment in world history. And so anyway, I'm also aware that other people out in the world might wind up seeing this. So I'm just going to give a brief introduction for myself. I am a trans guy who is a drag queen. My drag name is Debbie Penetration. I'm also a queer activist, and I'm just a performer of many hats, I should say. Drag's only one of them. And I'm also disabled. Although I don't know if that's a risk factor in this or not. I'm just not well because of a medical mistake a while back, and I'm a ton better than I used to be. But I have never had a head cold. It's certainly not for as long back as I can remember that was less than 4 to 6 weeks. I just get sick and it doesn't go away, and I'm afraid that with something like super serious like this, that it could be deadly, or leads to permanent injury. So I'm taking this deadly serious, and that's why I'm self-quarantining. Oh, and just to put it out there, that's Lee Bowery on that side, and that's Pete Burns from Dead or Alive on the other side, and Boy George, David Bowie, the singer from Visage, in the background. I will probably be shooting these in different places, but I thought that was a fun background to start out with. So anyway, here's my rundown on how we got to now, because, yeah, all I can say is that escalated rapidly. In January, it starts showing up in the news that there's some cases in China, and it's clearly, like, getting to be a really big problem in that one area. Like at the very end of January, the World Health Organization declares it a global health emergency. And by February, it's clear that they're having like massive deaths, in particular in Wuhan, China, and they have the entire place on lockdown. And over the course of the month, you start hearing about, cases in a few other places, and 2 cruise ships wound up under quarantine, and you start hearing about it in Iran and Italy, but on the whole, it still seems pretty contained to the spots that it's in. And we've had this before. I mean, we've really seen it before, so no one's panicking, because, we all lived through like SARS and the swine flu and the bird flu and Ebola, and just for whatever reason, those things just never, I mean, they spread, but in a contained area, and this is just going global and rapidly. And even though only, well, the number is up in the air, but somewhere between 0.6 and 4% of people who get it die because it's so contagious. So many people are getting it, so the death toll is very high. So where it starts seeming a little more immediately relevant to my life is in March. First week of March, I mean, it's just it is still spreading, but it feels like it's going to be confined. But they're starting to close borders, and the places, outside of China that have outbreaks are starting to do lockdowns. Still looks like it'll be contained, but it's like, goddamn, this is a thing. And then March 9th is sort of where it starts breaking down into like changing by a day by day basis, because that's the day that it was Monday of last week. Oh, I should have started off by saying the date. Today's Saturday, March 21st. So it's Saturday evening. So Monday of last week is where things started just happening at the speed of light in my own world. March 9th, Monday, which is Monday, was when they announced South by Southwest was going to be canceled, which was just like shock waves. And at the time, I think everyone felt like, I guess it's, better to err on the side of caution. But, it was just such an economic blow. Like, just people's heads were, exploding. And, like, people were, like, really financially freaked out. People were afraid of, losing their businesses because they depend on that income so much. The first day or two after that, people are like, okay, we're still going to have like unofficial versions of a lot of these shows, and it's going to suck because there aren't going to be nearly as many people, but it's ultimately, we'll make something out of this. And I'm impacted in that literally the day before they announced the cancellation, I'd arranged to put up international musicians, and they were going to give me 4 wristbands in exchange for that, which I could have sold for around $600, which I could have really used. But that was just kind of like the, how does it affect me, story. Other people were hurting so much worse. It was just, it would have been useful because I just moved into this house, and I bought it, and I have an upstairs space that I was going to rent out, and that was just going to help pay the mortgage until I got the renters in. But honestly, I'm so blessed in all this that's okay. Anyway, as the week progresses, it's just, things are becoming more clear every day. I start paying like full attention. People start like canceling their what would have been the unofficial version of their South by shows, and it's just my Facebook notifications just become a flood of events canceling. Sorry, I got my threadbare elbow. What can I say? It's the very end of winter, and shopping options are limited right now. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. So anyway, other places like Seattle was really creamed early on. They had I think 50 deaths out of the gate, and so other places are under lockdown, or not lock. Well, they're showing bars and restaurants. I can't remember if they were doing shelter-in-place orders yet. I think they were in Seattle. And anyway, it becomes really clear over the course of last week that they're going to have that order in place in Austin very soon. And I guess just to start weaving my own personal experience through all of this, is that I have unfortunately been, for non-coronavirus reasons, more or less sheltering in place for quite a while. I had one of those head colds that lasted at least 6 weeks back in October and November. Then I wound up having to spend all of December packing up my old house I'd lived in for 9.5 years, which was very hard to do physically for me, and to move into this house and also just clean it out and try and get my deposit back and all that, which I remarkably did get back. Anyway, I moved into a house that they finished the major repairs, but just there was someone over at this house, at least one person, most days and staying pretty late. So I was just, up early, and having to, it got in the way of going out late, and I couldn't really like leave the house while people were working in it because there are pets here, and my roommate has a cat, and it was just easier to stay home. And I'm just like, as soon as this is over, I'm going out there, man. I'm gonna have it'll be the golden era of my life, because I also wrapped up a lot of other long-term commitments. So it's just like, that is it. I'm gonna be free and clear. And oh, hold on. What's going on, phone? Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So anyway, and I'm not complaining because again, I'm so blessed that I'm in a house that's like got a little elbow room and it's repaired and everything. But they literally finished on Sunday. So like just by the skin of my teeth, did they finish the repairs just as like everything was starting to get pretty locked down. They wound up closing the bars and restaurants effective Monday. Tuesday was when they announced it. Oh, right. To backtrack a moment, Greg Abbott, our governor, actually called a press conference on Monday just to declare that he was not going to close schools, bars, or restaurants in the state of Texas, but leave it up to local government, which is just him being irresponsible as he panders to, his business cronies who, oh, shutting stuff down, that's bad for business, So luckily, Rita, what is it? Austin has good leadership, so Mayor Adler closed the bars and restaurants on Tuesday, the day after Greg Abbott announced that, only for on Thursday, just because, things are going so dramatically. Greg Abbott still ultimately had to cave and agree to close schools, bars, and restaurants statewide, but just the fact that he dragged his heels for that long has fairly definitely will cost lives. If it hasn't already. It takes a little while for the virus to play out, but that's not awesome at all. And Trump has not been awesome on this either. He's mishandled a lot of stuff, but hopefully people in the future watching this will already be very well aware of that. Hell, I think people in the present watching this will know that. Sorry, I don't know why it keeps getting dark, but I'll try and stay very still. Anyway, oh, hi, Rita. Rita's back. Want to come on screen? Oh, she's being camera shy. Sorry, stop moving. Anyway, so my experience was I went out Thursday of last week and Friday of last week, already like getting nervous, but at that point there were only 17 confirmed cases in Austin. And like I said, just already hadn't been out in a very long time. And so I just decided I needed to have some human contact. So I went out to a gay variety show called The Gay Agenda on Thursday, and then zipped over to the Iron Bear to see Spotlight On. And then I went on Friday night to the Poo Poo Platter, and I got to see a lot of friends, and then that was it. That's the last social contact I will have for a very, very, very long time. And anyway, so yeah, this week is this week is where things started. Oh man, I don't know why it is doing that. I'm gonna re-angle that a little. But anyway, yeah, this week is where it really started moving at the speed of light. So, like I said, Monday, Abbott refuses to close anything down. Tuesday, Steve Adler closes things down. I should say restaurants can still do to-go, but I don't want to even have to touch a door handle or anything. And, the people handling the containers, I mean, hopefully their hands are clean, but that's outside of my control. It just feels like an unnecessary risk for me as someone who would probably be greatly harmed by the virus if I caught it. So, Tuesday is where I'm like trying to start concluding my business in the outside world. My dog had a vet appointment. I run errands. By Wednesday, which was the 18th, there are states that are starting to just give statewide shelter-in-place orders where, basically anyone who can work from home should, and don't go outside unless you have a specific reason. And by Thursday, I get my oil change, I get a tank of gas, I get some groceries, and by Thursday, it's especially obvious Texas is going to be in lockdown. It's happening. By yesterday, there were 4 states that were in, lockdown is probably not quite the right word, but shelter in place, just for the record, almost is lockdown. It's just a hair less mandatory, I guess. So anyway, yesterday, it became really clear we're 1 to 2 weeks away from lockdown here, depending on how long Greg Abbott irresponsibly drags his feet to appease his business buddies. And so, yeah, I ran my last errands yesterday. I feel like I'm in pretty decent shape. I got home a little after 12 noon. I, disinfected everything. And since yesterday, very early afternoon, I've been under quarantine, I guess. And today, a 5th state, New Jersey, is doing the shelter in place. And I forget, like something, 700 or 800 people died in Italy in 24 hours yesterday. As of this evening, they've announced there are 58 cases in Travis County. And I mean, it just keeps going in leaps and bounds. Like from last Friday, it was 17 people, then it was like 26 people, then it like kind of jumped to 42, and then I guess now we're at 58. So, of course, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean it's spreading that quickly. That's just how quickly they're getting positive test results. Still, so it can go either way. A, testing's ramped up, so you'll get more positives, but B, it's still very difficult to get a test for it. So there are a lot of undiagnosed cases. Anyway, those numbers are going to keep going up for a while. Lockdown's coming. I have absolutely, I should probably say that I'm just going to try and content warn every time I think I'm going to say something sad, but on a serious note, I am very concerned that people I know and love will die. I think that is going to happen. And I'm hoping I won't be one of those people. But I'm going to do everything possible. I'm actually just uniquely well situated for this, and I'm just so lucky. I've got a house that I didn't even have time to buy furniture for yet, so I definitely have some elbow room. I am disabled, so that doesn't affect my check, and I have a roommate who works in healthcare, so she has steady income. I think I hope I responsibly walked the line between stocking up and not hoarding. I feel good to have like an immediate supply, but I'm definitely counting on resources continuing to be available. Oh, there's Rita. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for now. Like I said, in the future, it will be a lot faster. I think I just want to use it as like a video diary, but like I said, for this first one, I just wanted to kind of get us caught up to right now. I think I'll try different backgrounds. But I just thought